over on Wagmont Town channel today. We're going to play The Grim Prospects of an Office Worker, made by the same creator as You and Him. Let's begin. Office hours, closing and clocking in. Death is an opportunity. It's the corporate slogan stamped onto every single flyer, lanyard, and office supply item, right down to the pin on your desk. Grimm Corp loves using it for advertising. Even better when those same words reel in new recruits who are all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to work. They walk in believing they can make a real difference. Sometimes they couldn't do something they couldn't do while alive. You can't blame them. You initially thought the same thing. And really, as bad as Grim Reaper endorsing the slogan would catch anyone's interest, who wouldn't want to wield a big hulking scythe? Screw a 401k. Holding that thing and looming over the dead and dying with a world alone is a real dream. Is that how Grim got the scythe? But alas, as with every dream comes a wrench in the plan. Those opportunities, they aren't real. They're just something that higher-ups say to lure you into the competitive nature of the Afterlife's corporate ladder. Sorry, I'm kind of sick. I've been here for 5 years. You've been here for 5 years. You haven't legally held a scythe once. Legally? Well, you have legally held in a deep, growing resentment for Gertrude, who's gone for the third time this week, which means she's gonna leave you with a bigger workload. Here you go. He's cute. Clunk. Run cue, your coworker Jacob, whoever you can't remember his name, plants a stack of files on your desk. So where's all Adam's victims? A lovely pink sticky note with Gertrude's name on it stares up at you. It then disappears as a stack of files collapses and papers scatter everywhere, like remnants of your sanity. You didn't even touch it. Neither you or Jacob moved. The pile was just that tall. You stare down at the paperwork. The paperwork stares back, and won't go away. We'll have her get working on it, and it will only glow if you ignore it. You would know. You tried. That's it. You finally hitting your breaking point as you spin around in your chair and throw your hand up in defeat. I'm quitting. I'm no more a data entry specialist at Grimm Corp. I'm going to follow my new afterlife dream of owning a ghost cafe. I'll take the data entry specialist. I should take the cafe too, but... You know what? No one can stop me. I'm going. I'm on my way out. I'm outside the building. I am gone. So long, farewell, and screw this job. You slump back onto your seat with a huff. Despite your threats, you haven't moved this muscle. Partially because the chairs here are surprisingly comfortable, but mostly because you got bills to pay. And I would honestly take data entry. Not even death can stop capitalism. Jacob quirks a brow over your departure speech. I'm wondering what would happen if you were born in a non-capitalistic country. Like, what would the afterlife be like? Would it be the same afterlife? And they're like, wait, No, capitalism still exists, but mine doesn't. I'm just thinking. You said the same thing last week, and the one before that. Actually, I'm pretty sure you've been saying that since I started working here. No one asked you, Jacob. It's Gregory. We got the name completely wrong. You squint, tap your chin. I thought that was our accounting guy's name. We don't have an accounting department. You know what? Age must be getting to me. I think I should retire soon. We don't. We work for all our afterlife. Gregory pinches the bridge of his nose, exhausted by your antics. We're dead. We don't age. We don't get retirement plans. What do you mean? I was promised a 401k. He looks at you deadpan. You're screwing with me. He casts him a grin, caught red-handed. As you say, a little spice a day keeps a boredom from a thankless job at bay. Thank you for being the source of my amusement. Really appreciate you around here, Jeremiah. Gregory's eyes twitches. He wants to strangle you. I don't blame him. This must be this much is apparent. Too bad you're both already dead, so he can't get that suffocation. Yet. There might be. Again, it's Gregory, and no one says that about spices. Well, I do. Fine, you got me. I'm also screwing for you because I feel like my departure speech went unappreciated. You did not shed a single tear. I want to see uncontrollable sobbing in a cake, and it offers me it offends me that I was given neither. I'm about to shed multiple tears if I have to keep hearing you talk for the rest of eternity. Okay, good to know. He scrubs a hand over his face, muttering to himself. So if we're dead, why is the Gertrude girl always call out? Why does death have to be so damn long? Shove a stuck on it, you two. I'm trying to watch the Reaper house. Castiel, your other coworker, shoots both of you a scathing look. I like the name. It might be because I like Supernatural. You roll towards their desk and peek at the screen at their clunky old computer monitor where they got an episode of a reality TV show on pause. Which season? Season 4, episode 20. Castiel resumes their video with a annoyed click of the mouse. You both watch as a very drunk Grim Reaper stumbles around in the middle of some generic wing before collapsing into a gurney. The Reaper shushes the gurney when it squeaks before using it to haul himself back to his feet. By some miracle, the Reaper makes it to the end of the hall before pausing to dry heave into a pod plant. The monstria shrivels up and dies at his touch. Gregory materializes over your shoulder just in time to witness the Reaper record humiliation. He looks disgusted and disgruntled, although you're pretty sure that's a pictorial state of being for him, given his sparkling personality. How are those people able to keep their jobs? Shouldn't this be grounds for dismissal? You shrug your shoulders, not bothering to look at him. Reapers like this make money for the company by providing entertainment for the masses. You gesture to Castiel. As a sample, they flip you off in return. If you rank it in enough dough, they're willing to overlook most everything. I do mean anything. What you're saying is well known fact amongst the dead. The only way you could get fired is if you start playing God and decide on your own who lives and who dies rather than following what's written in the death schedule. You've seen it happen a few times before. Or did they lose their lives for that? A handful of reapers who lost their jobs were just bleeding hearts who refused to take the lives of the innocent. They couldn't stomach it. And as a result, they were stripped of their roles and given a recommendation for jobs they could handle. Then there were reapers who had the opposite problem, the ones that got so addicted to the high of taking someone's life that they started taking matters to their own hands. There's two things that a reaper cannot do. They can't choose when someone dies, and they cannot choose who dies. They can't choose when someone dies, and they can't choose who dies. The powers that be, aka the heads of the Reaper Corp, make those grand decisions. What a Reaper can choose is how a person dies. Mutilation, stagnation, lack of oxygen, all on the table. I think a lot of that thought, it's like I just want to die in my sleep or something. They even allow spontaneous combustion every once in a while. But there's reapers out there who think it's not enough and either want more power or crave the rush of the kill, so they start taking and taking and taking. Right up until the powers that be step in and scrum them from existence. The price for their hubris is forever oblivion. And I don't think oblivion would be a good idea, but it can be boring. The only one reaper like this in history who managed to avoid such a dramatic fate. Fingus Form. Ooh, Fingus Form looks cute. He's notorious in a household name at this point. He was also your coworker before he somehow managed to climb his way up the ladder and join the 1% of the population that becomes reapers. Once upon a time, he was Afterlife's golden child. People loved him. They revered him. They practically worshipped him and the ground he walked on. He received rewards and nominations for his work in the human realm. He appeared almost untouchable. Then, for whatever reason, he snapped. He started killing and reaping souls he wasn't supposed to. No one understood why or how it happened. Only that it did. Becoming a Reaper means status, stability, and prestige. If you become a Reaper, you're the equivalent of a celebrity. You have it made for the rest of eternity. The powers that be grant you unlimited access between the realm of the living and the dead, with your hand carved as scythe as a little key. You have nothing left to gain, but everything left to lose if you screw it up. So why did he do it? Why risk everything for a brief moment of playing God when it eventually be stripped away? What's the point in all of this? Mentally sick ahead. There's no use asking questions. You never understood what your former coworker was thinking. Not when you were given anything to be. Not when you would have given anything to be in his shoes. After hours clocking out, walking to your apartment is relatively uneventful, peaceful even. You'd think the afterlife powers that be for following suit with the living labor laws, seeing as how the dead don't need to sleep or get physically sick. Anyone here could work for hours on end with no breaks. But that's inhuman, so they reserve that for within the 9 circles of hell. I'll probably put in 9 seconds of hell. They probably get breaks. Even more breaks. You're avoiding ending up there by narrowing. You avoid ending up there by a narrow margin. Maybe you're forced to work for eternity, but at least you get breaks in between. You start fumbling around with your keys once you reach your block and your apartment complex comes into view. It's something to write home about. The place is decent, it's not shabby, and it's got 4 corner walls, a semi-decent kitchen, a bathroom, and 1 bedroom. And your front door is ominously swinging open on its hinges. I'm gonna take a guess and say a certain reaper's in there. Cool. That's not concerning at all. Totally not. Just go in. It's not like the last time this happened. Someone threw salt at your face and stole your toaster. No, salt really hurts dead. If one of the few things that can inflict harm alongside iron and holy water. I thought holy water only worked for demons. We're not telling or actually demon skies. These things are mostly outlawed, but somehow people find them. Especially when they want lightly toasted bread. Okay, let's check the apartment. Throw hands for your appliances. With growing anxiety, you force yourself into your apartment before you can take the coward's way out. You keep the footsteps light, quiet. You move like a cat stalking a mouse, trying to take on the role of the predator, louder and pray to keep your horrific image at bay. From the angle, you see a glimmer of light coming from the kitchen. It flickers. You really got to get around to changing that freaking light bulb. You think to yourself as you peer around the corner. A figure stands under the yellow gloom before everything gets plunged into darkness. Whoever is there is tall. They're high, oppressive. Worse, you could hear the distant tearing of flesh, of meat being stripped from the bone and carved without mercy. There's a heavy pause. You wonder if they noticed you yet. You hold your breath despite the fact that you don't physically need to. The sound zooms inch closer to the kitchen as if you had a heart, it would be thumping in your chest as the light flickers on again. You don't see your intruder, but you know they're there. Alongside them is a very distant crunching sound. You don't want to know what it is that they're doing, but there's no other choice. You have to comfort the intruder. There's no backing out now. You swallow hard as you brace your hands on the kitchen island countertop. Crunch, snap. You slowly peer over to get a look at the other side. You brace yourself for the worst. The kitchen light flickers on, and damn it, Phoenix! Is he just looking at us? We already know. Phoenix freezes, hunched in front of your refrigerator like a food gremlin caught in the night. It's very handsome. You should have known. It's always this man dropping his by unannounced and stealing your food. Offerings from the living. You point to the thing dangling from his mouth. Drop the chicken bone. Drop it. Phoenix crunches down on the bone before swallowing it whole, making an unabashed eye contact. Someone ate all your chicken. Yeah, I'm looking at him. Oh, really? I can't tell with all the gorging you were doing earlier. You push him out of the way and peer into your fridge to assess the damage. I did not give you an apartment key just so you could take my things without asking. You've grown upon closer inspection of your top shelf. Oh, come on. Not the biscuits, too. I don't know why you're complaining so much. It's not like you need to eat anyway. Neither do you. And unlike you, I've been crunched over my desk like a gargoyle all day and working overtime. I worked. You say that as if you don't enjoy disembodying people to look like the disassembled parts of Mr. Potato Head toy. He's a very, very psychotic Grim, but he looks very adorable. Just because I enjoy it doesn't mean it's not work. In other words, he sold some of the legal souls he raped on the black market and got paid for it. Good for you, but when I come home from a long day, I like my stuff left untouched and out of your stomach. You close the refrigerator door and turn off the kitchen lights. I left the coleslaw. You breathe in deep. Nope, you can't do this anymore. You pat your pockets. What are you doing? Looking for my phone so I could tattle on you to the undead authorities. Phoenix has the audacity to lick his fingers. Guess I should take the window instead of the front door this time. He managed to locate your cell phone and peer up at Phoenix, who remains unbothered by frets picking his teeth with a nail. You wonder if this is how Gregory feels dealing with you and your antics. Maybe this is karma. Definitely. But very cute karma. Maybe this is a signal you should be nicer to him. Maybe it's time for a change. Nah. You're still giving him heck come Monday, and you're mostly considered a rascal by society standards. Thanks, it's just rude and a thief. You start dialing. Does that mean you don't want this month's rent? Or to come with me to the human realm? Your thumb hovers over the last number. Right. There's a reason why I let him room with me when he's in town. Thanks comes with problems, but he also provides some benefits that you never get to achieve otherwise. Some of those benefits include additional income when he opts to drop by unannounced and need to sleep on your couch for a couple months. As for the other benefits, you pocket your phone before turning towards him, holding out your open palm. Fine, you win. But this time I get to choose what souls we weep tonight and sell on the market. Doesn't matter to me, it makes it interesting. He gives a flick of his wrist, and gold light appears in his hands before solidifying into a scythe. Did you remember to shed the files on the souls we reaped from the other night? You take the scythe and give it a satisfying twirl. Oh, that's why we said illegally, because we have is. Yep, that's one of the few pricks of giving my job. It makes us harder to trace. As data entry specialist, you enter all files belonging to the souls of the dead into the Afterlife digital system. But with that comes the ability to choose who never enters it. If you're doing your job appropriately, report any anomalies when it comes to an Afterlife file, which would result in said file getting sent to another department for investigation. So the ones that you shred? Well, a good portion of those files belong to the souls of the Afterlife that Phoenix reaps. You also reaped a handful of souls yourself when Phoenix lets you take his side for a spin. He's responsible for most of the anomalies. It's entirely thanks to you. Your help that Phoenix hasn't been caught by the powers that be or the undead police. They can't even begin to comprehend just how many lives he's taken before their doom. All due to the help of an insider who pays little to no mind to. Good. Phoenix says that he deserves you as you study the engravings on the snatch. He looks like he wants to say something more. You cook a brow at him. What? Why are you staring at me? No particular reason. I'm mostly just noticing how much of a hypocrite you are. How so? Phoenix shrugs. You give me hell for going rogue, yet here you are, risking it all to become a reaper. If that's what hypocrisy is, I don't know what is. I'll give you hell because you had everything in the palm of your hand before you threw it all away. But me? You catch me a grin that doesn't reach your eyes. I have nothing to lose and everything to gain by keeping our arrangement. I was promised a better afterlife if I was good enough, if I worked hard enough, if I gave enough of myself for a company that promised me everything in return if I just followed the rules. But look what happened. Nothing worked out the way it should have. That's why I feel the way I deserve. I didn't get the opportunity I was so vehemently promised after death by doing things the right way. So now, with one fluid motion, you tear a hole between the realms with the scythe curved blade. On their side of the tear, you could hear the sounds of people. You hear the sounds of the world tipping without human life. You smell and take the step forward, 1 foot caught between the realms. Now I carve a path for myself. Because if death won't let it give me the opportunity I want. You smile over the portal and look directly at Phoenix. Then I'll take them by force instead. Now we're gonna choose avoid getting saw in your eyes. Contact the authorities. Because we have to see what happens. You don't want to go in there. Nah. No, thank you. You had a rough night, as is, and salt would definitely tip you over the edge. You called the undead police. Only when they arrived and entered your apartment. It's not long before they return and demand you put your hands behind your head. You stare at the men, mouth agape. You don't listen as a result. And they wrench your hands behind your back and push you into the car door. It doesn't matter, but the message is clear. They're arresting you. You flash around trying to demand answers. You're the innocent one here. You're the one whose home was broken into. Yeah, he probably told them everything. Why are you the one who's in trouble? None of them listen. None of them see to reason. They simply waddle off your rights before shoving you into the back of the vehicle, where they drive you into the station. You're placed in the interrogation room with 2 chairs, 1 table, and a scythe laying in the center. It's then the reason for your arrest becomes clear. The scythe belongs to Phoenix Thorn. But what the police want to know is why it was laying in the center of your living room for, and what your association with the Reaper turned fugitive. Bad end. And that was The Grim Prospects of an Office Worker. If you want my content, please subscribe, like, how about, and comment down below. See you guys next time.